So the first three want us to scale up or down. Now remember this, scaling means that we multiply the numerator and denominator by the same factor. We can see that in the first one, the denominator 25, to become 125 would be multiplied by 5. So we're going to multiply 3 3/4 by 5. So in order to do this, we're going to have to turn 3 3/4 into an improper fraction. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15/4. When we multiply that by 5 over 1, we get 75/4. And when we divide that, that gives us 18 3/4. Now we also need to put the units on it, which is cakes. Pretty much the same thing for number 2. Now what we're going to do here, though, is we're going to reverse it around so that it is x, well, let's see. This would actually be dividing by. So I was hoping that we could turn around and just multiply it, but we're going to need to divide the bottom by 16.5. So we need to divide the top. So it's really 448 divided by 16.5. So when we divide that, that equals 27 5/33 miles. Again, we still need to use the same unit as on top. And then number 3. Honestly, on this one, why don't we just put a variable right where the question mark is and then cross multiply. So 162x equals 4.5 times 84, 378, and then divide both sides by 162. So x equals 2 1/3, and we need our units, yards. Number 4, 36 3/4 gallons of water come out of a hose in 15 minutes. Write the ratio in fractional form and determine the water rate in gallons per hour. So we've got gallons in 15 minutes. So really what we're doing is a complex ratio here. 36 3/4 gallons in 15 minutes. Can you see if we multiply 15 minutes in an hour, there are 4 of them. So if we multiply by 4 over 4, we will find out how many in 1 hour, because 15 times 4 is 60 minutes. So if you multiply 36.75 or 3/4 by 4, you get 147 gallons. So our answer is 147 gallons. Number 5, a plant grows 3/4 of an inch every week. Oh, that should have a Y on there. Write the ratio in fractional form and determine how many inches the plant grows in a month. And we're just going to do 4 weeks per month. So 3/4 over 1 week. Well, we can see again that we're going to multiply by 4 over 4. So that gives us 3 inches per 1 month. Because 1 week times 4 is 4 weeks, so we know 4 weeks, according to our rule, is a month. All right, now on to a table and a graph. So the owner of a city parking garage uses a rate table so he can look things up quickly. So complete the table. Well, I want the unit rate. So right now we know how much a half an hour is, and if we double that, it'd be $6.50. We can see if we doubled $6.50, that would give us $13. So let's just fill in the rest of this table, adding $3.25 per hour, per half hour. And then it asks us what the unit rate is. Well, the unit rate, of course, is in this box that shows how much per hour. So $6.50 per hour. Kristen was charged $42.25 for parking. How many hours did she park her car in the garage? Well, if it's, we could do a proportion here. $6.50 for 1 hour equals $42.25 for how many hours? So x, we can cross multiply. So 6 50x equals 42.25. Divide both sides by 650. And strangely enough, x equals 6.5 hours. Then part D says graph the scenario and show the unit rate on the graph. Well, of course we know that the hours is going to be the x and the y is going to be the amount of money. So y-axis is vertical, x-axis is horizontal. We only have to get up to 4, so I'm going to skip every other line. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have to get up to $26. So I'm going to count by threes. And that should be good enough. And then plot the points. And this is really lucky because we are counting by half hours on the bottom. So 325, 1 is 650, and then 1.5, 975, 2 would be 13, 2.5, 1625, 3 is 1950, 3.5 would be 2275. 4 would be 26. Okay, that's about what we need to do. Now you can draw the line if you want to. You don't need to. Moving on, number 7. A person who weighs 125 pounds on Earth would weigh 47.2 pounds on Mercury. Set up a proportion and solve it using means and extremes to determine how much a child who weighs 50 pounds on Earth would weigh on Mercury. So 125 pounds on Earth weighs 47.2. Well, 0.2 is another way of saying 2/10 on Mercury. So now we've got 50 pounds on Earth. So make sure that that is on top in the first one, it's on top in the second one. And how many pounds on Mercury? So now we're going to cross multiply. So 125x equals 47.2 times 50, 2360. Divide both sides by 125. And x equals 18.88 pounds on Mercury. All right, so here's that unit rate stuff. Calculate the unit rate for each size. Well, unit rate is always going to be cost divided by units, and in this case the units are ounces. So we're going to do 349 divided by 7.5, which is 0.65, and then 3 repeated. And that, of course, is dollars per ounce. And then right below that, So 849 divided by 24 3/4. And that equals 0.34, it kind of goes on from there per ounce. Oh, I don't have a lot of room, but that's why I'm changing colors. Next is the 18.5 ounce bottle for $6.49. So 6.49 divided by 18.5 equals about 35 cents. 0.08 ... per ounce. And finally, the last one. So 10.99 divided by 30 2/3, which is almost 36 cents. So which size is the best buy, and explain how you know? Well, we're looking for the least amount of money with the most number of ounces. And it looks like this blue one. So let's turn back to blue. 8.49, because it's only 34 cents, a little more than 34 cents per ounce. All the rest of them are, well, 46 or in the 35 cents per ounce. And that's how I know. All right, next, Fran ran 4.5 kilometers. How many miles did Fran run? Now it gives you this conversion. Set up a proportion and solve it. So if 1 kilometer is 0.62 miles, then 4.5 kilometers equals X miles. Now we can scale up on this one if we like, because we can see that simply multiplying 1 kilometer by 4.5 gives us 4.5 kilometers. So on our calculator, we can just do 0.62 times 4.5, and that gives us 2.79. So X equals 2.79 miles. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, you can cross multiply. X times 1 is 1x, and now we're doing 6.62 times 4.5, and that again will give us 2.79 miles. Now, of course, we don't need to divide by the 1. That is our answer just as well as the other one. All right, a batch of soup makes 7 1/4 pints. How many liters is that? And it gives us a conversion again. Set up a proportion and solve it. So we always have to. And it says to set up a proportion, we've got to do it. Well, I take the conversion they give me, 1 pint over 0.47 liters. And they gave me 7 1/4 pints. So how many liters? Again, you can cross multiply. So 1x equals 0.47 times 7 1/4, which is 3.4075 liters. And that was cross multiplying. And again, you don't have to divide both sides by 1 because it's done.